The Shattered Compass. Chapter 1. The Storm in the Map. The waves swallowed the horizon like dark mouths, and the sea serpent slammed against them as though the ocean itself was at war with its timbers. Lanterns swung violently from their hooks, casting brief bursts of light that drew wild shadows across the deck. Captain Riven clung to the wheel with both hands, jaw set, his cloak plastered to him from driving rain. "Hold her steady," he roared above the thunder, though no one could steady a ship in a storm like that. Beside him, Myra, the ship's navigator and cartographer, gripped a soaked bundle against her chest, a scroll case of thick leather, old as any treasure they'd ever found. "If this goes under, then we die for nothing," she shouted, shoving the map into her satchel. The crew, just 6 of them, fought the sea together. Jorah, the quiet blacksmith from the inland mountains, wielded ropes like weapons, hammering pegs into slick wood to stop sails from tearing free. Lena, the youngest of them, sprinted barefoot across the deck, carrying orders and courage alike. And though none of them had meant to end up in that storm, all knew what waited in the satchel Myra protected. A map not to land, but to something greater. When dawn finally broke, torn and gray, the sea serpent was half broken but afloat. The explorers, exhausted, drenched, raw with sleepless fear, gathered in the ruined galley. Wood creaked. Rain still dripped through cracks, but Myra spread the map on the table. It was unlike any they had seen. Drawn in 2 inks, one black, one shimmering faintly green, it showed no familiar coasts or seas. Instead, it twisted through symbols no one could read, ending at a compass rose, shattered down the middle. "The compass of Erenville," Myra whispered. Her eyes gleamed. Jorah frowned beside her. "A myth, a fairy tale to scare miners' children." Riven leaned closer, water still dripping from his hair. "And yet we've stolen a legend straight from a duke's vault. This isn't chance. We were meant to find this." The crew exchanged glances. None of them knew if their captain meant by fate or by something darker, but they all knew this. Maps existed to be followed. And so began their journey. Chapter 2. The Silent Island. 3 days north, with storms behind them and silence ahead, the map's strange green ink began to change. Where before it seemed like shimmering pigment, now it faintly glowed in Myra's hands, guiding them, not north, but toward a blank patch of sea most charts left deliberately unmarked. "There's nothing there," Lena insisted, nervously twisting her red scarf. "Just ocean. Every sailor says so. And yet look." Myra placed the map down against the wood of the table. The glow pulsed just once like a heartbeat. By nightfall, the fog thickened around them until all sound was muffled. No gulls, no waves, no creaks. It was as if the world itself held its breath. And then the island appeared. Not out of distance, but out of emptiness. One moment there was only fog. The next, black cliffs rose like broken teeth. They anchored uneasily, torches flickering in the mist. Everything about the island felt wrong, too still, too silent. Even the surf that should have crashed against jagged rock only whispered when it touched the shore. The explorers went ashore anyway. No storm, no silence, no threat of curse could make them turn back, not with the map poolsing in Myra's grip. They walked among ruins buried in jungle, towers half swallowed by roots, stone carvings eroded by centuries but still showing stern, majestic faces. And in the very center, they found a dais of obsidian, cold to the touch, carved with words none of them recognized. Lena pressed her hand against it cautiously. "What if it's a warning?" Riven studied the lines. "Or what if it's a key?" Something shifted beneath the place where Lena's hand touched. A circle split open at the dais center, stones sliding down like clockwork. Inside was no treasure, but a hollow shaft descending into deep blackness. The map in Myra's hand flared so bright they had to shield their eyes. When it faded, a new line had appeared on the parchment, drawn to some destination beyond the island. It wasn't an ending at all. The island was only the first step. Chapter 3. Shadows on the Deck. They returned to the sea serpent with slower feet and heavier silence. Even Lena, who usually filled every pause with chatter or hope, said no more. That night, as they sailed again, Myra woke with a start. The satchel that held the map sat near her cot, but she could swear she had heard whispers inside of it, like voices too faint to understand. She reached for it with trembling fingers, only to find Jorah already sitting awake across the cabin from her. "You heard it too?" he asked low. Her throat was dry. "What is it?" "Whatever guides us," he said, "is not only ink and paper." By dawn, the sea was choked with fog again, and something had changed aboard the ship. Small things at first, tools misplaced, lanterns swinging without wind. But then louder, footsteps on the deck when no one walked it, shapes at the corners of their vision that slipped away before eyes could focus. Captain Riven gathered them all. His voice was iron and fire. "We chase what no sailors dare. We've stolen a legend, and legends tend to steal us back. Be ready. Something wishes to see if we are worthy." The map pulsed again in Myra's hands. Ahead the horizon darkened, and in the dark something waited. Chapter 4: The Ghosts of the Gale. By noon, the fog lifted but left behind a cold that pierced even the thickest coats. Myra noticed frost feathering the edges of the strange map, although the sun glimmered overhead. More unsettling, every bird that crossed the sky arced away from the sea serpent as if fleeing an invisible barrier. Jorah spent the morning sharpening his axe, glancing at his reflection in the polished steel. He saw a flash, a shadow flickering behind him. Spinning, he found only the empty air and Lena, who stood at the bow peering into the endless blue. "How do we know the map isn't leading us to our own graves?" she murmured. Jorah shook his head. "Ask Myra or the captain. They're the ones with faith. I have only the steel in my eyes." Below deck, Myra laid the map flat. The glowing green line now ran straight across a part of the sea marked only by sketches of stylized faces, all contorted in swooping arcs. Storms, winds, perhaps some forgotten pantheon of sky spirits. The wind died all at once. A stillness more oppressive than the silence of the island pressed down. Then, horribly, the sky above them twisted. Clouds spun in concentric circles, faster and faster, as if something immense turned a key in the heavens. The crew scrambled, sails dropped, ropes flailed, and the wheel spun loose. Captain Riven forced it back into position. "All hands brace," he thundered, but no one could brace for the spectral shapes that emerged from the storm. Apparitions, translucent and blue as deep water, strode across the ship's deck. They wore the garb of mariners from bygone centuries, their mouths open as if howling, but the crew heard nothing. One ghost, tall and crowned, reached for Myra. The veins of her hand glowed green, matching the ink of the map. She froze, staring into the echo of another age. "You who seek the compass," the shade intoned. Its voice came not through ears but through every bone. "You must give of your truth or be lost to the gale." All around them the storm howled, not in the world but in their minds and blood. Riven, seeing his crew frozen, did the only thing he could. He drew his sword. "We are not here to steal or plunder. We seek what is hidden to heal what is broken." The apparition looked at him, pity and sorrow etching its blue features. "Then tell your stories. Speak who you are, or the storm takes you all." One by one, from Lena's trembling lips to Jorah's deep baritone, the explorers confessed their truths, their secrets, their regrets, what had driven each to risk death for a myth. The ghosts listened, and the gale abated. As the spirits faded, Myra glanced at the map. Far ahead, a new symbol burned there, an arch above crashing waves. Chapter 5: The City Below the Sea. The sea shimmered with impossible colors as the ship neared the next mark, a whirlpool that spun silently beneath a perfect blue sky. Beneath the surface, ancient spires twisted up from the ocean floor, beckoning the explorers toward their heart. The map's green glow pulsated to a frantic rhythm. "An underwater city," Lena marveled. Captain Riven nodded, voice reverent. The chronicles of Erenville spoke of a citadel sunk by the anger of stars. Few believed the stories, fewer saw their shores. Myra pressed the map to the compass rose on the deck. Instantly, a current seized the sea serpent, spinning it gently, then pulling it, impossibly down, past the glitter of waves, into a world where mourning and memory drowned together. The water shimmered, but did not flood the holds. Some unknown magic kept the explorers safe as their ship glided through submerged arches. Glowing fish, some as large as horses, circled in slow, silent processions. All around them, a city of crystal and stone sprawled. Windows peered from coral towers. Broken statues stretched toward the surface, faces eroded but eyes hauntingly wise. In the heart of the city, atop a ziggurat draped in seaweed, stood a colossal door marked with the same split compass as their map. Myra stepped forward, and the door responded, sliding open with a soundless sigh of water. Inside, they found not gold but a library, thousands of tablets, spheres, and devices twisting with refracted light. Lena wept at the sight of so much knowledge lost and found. Jorah moved warily, axe ready, but nothing stirred. Captain Riven knelt before a pedestal. There, inset in stone, waited half of a compass, beautiful, cracked, and warm as dawn in his hands.